If we tried to put another find, it won't work because the controller action is considered a dictionary. And that will make two identical keys, which is not syntactically right because we have now to find keys of this dictionary. Let's try to delete the second find and build the YML, and we can put it manually in our code. Notice that the check details notification is not created for us, so we need to make one by our own, by make notification. Let's import the new notification and get the ID of the project from request. And let's get some employee with a random ID. The employee is not imported. Let's import it. And let's go to the employee model and make it as notifiable using the notifiable trait. Our code now is considered ready for notifying someone. Moving to the next statement, which is redirect. Let's add two actions to the employee controller. The first is test, and the second is show employees. The test is supposed to redirect us to the second action. In the test, we will find some employee by the ID and then redirect the user to the other action, which is named employee show, with the ID that we've got. And in the show employee, we will get the ID from request and find the employee in the database and print it on the output. Let's build and go to the route and add an into the second route so that it is the same as the name we've put in the redirect parameter. And now let's go to our controller and let's get the ID from request and add a parameter called ID to the route method. And in the second action, let's get the ID from request that's supposed to be sent from the first action in the route. And let's print the array of the object so that we get only the necessary information. We should go to employee test. Let's serve our application on port 8000. We have done a mistake. It's not dot, it should be an arrow. Let's save and test. And now the problem is that we should send some valid ID in the route. Now the ID is captured and resent to the other action which showed us the employee. Respond. Let's put the name of the variable we want to send to the client and then bold. And remove the new route that is added in the route file because Blueprint erase doesn't erase those. It only tracks the files, not the lines of code. So it will create a file and remove a file that is tracked in the .blueprint file. It can add a line of code to an existing file, but will never remove a line from an existing file. The result of our work in the controller is like this. Let's serve our app on port 8000 and see the result on the browser. It will return the JSON of the employee with the ID that's given as a parameter. Let's try some view with the render statement. We will pass the name of the view with the object we want to show inside it. Let's build. Remove the extra route and see the result. We need the ID from the request as usual. We can see that the view statement is created, passing the employee to the view. The blueprints have created us the view as well. Let's print something to get sure that we're good. We will print only the name of the employee in here. And here we go. The name is shown and a render is working. Let's try the validate statement on the employee and bold. It will create a special request called employee test request. Let's see it in deep. It extends from request and will create a rules function that lists some rules for each one of the fields. We notice that the blueprint adds required to all of the fields, setting the max length for strings and setting ranges for integers, and checks the referential integrity with master tables as in the department ID. Now, let's save some data in the database. I will find an employee, change some properties of him, and then save it again in the database. The changes on the properties cannot go in Blueprint draft file, so I will add those manually after building. Let's build, change the name to Mark, and save the record again. We will read the records again in employee 1 and print the new values. Get the ID from request. Let's see the new employee. His name is Mark, and the save statement worked. Let's send some email to thank the employee for his good work directly to the employee email that we can get through the contact info. Let's build and see the result. This will be changed to mail to and saved. And of course, Blueprint will create us the mail code, which extends the Mailable class. And it will take some view that you're free to change so that it becomes suitable for your content. Let's go to store now. That will store some variable in this session. It's different from the flash, that this one will store it in the session and it will live as long as the session lives. Update. If we put the object after it and bold, then it will create us an empty array so that we can fill with whatever update information that we want. We can list the properties to update as well. Let's add another update statement that will update the name of the employee. And remember that in YAML syntax, if a dictionary, so we're not allowed to make two identical update keys. That's why we have an error in building. Let's remove the first update and add another property, which is the identification, and then build again. Notice that now the update array have the needed teeth and values. We can get the ID from request and get the new values from request as well. Now let's move to the resources statement. It will consider the employee as an eloquent resource, which goal is to facilitate the process of transforming your model and model collections into JSON. Let's see what that means. If we go to the controller, we can see that the returned value is a new instance of the employee resource. And of course, Blueprint will create the resource class for us inside the resource folder. This resource will extend JSON resource and have to array function. For a collection of the same model, we can add collection or paginate for employees as partial statement. Let's build and see what is in the result. It will create an employee collection for us and call employee.paginate. The resource is there, will extend resource collection. Putting collection instead of paginate will result in the same code generated as the paginate. I have passed through every lookless statement that is supported for the controller actions. It's not necessary to get syntactically right code 100% in the controllers. Just generation of the necessary lines of code and related files are sufficient for you. And you can edit the generated code and complete it to the way you want.